Hi everyone, my name is Maggie, and this is a story about me falling in love with my best friend, only to find out he could be a completely different person and regretting what I felt for him. His name was Tim. We studied at the same school and had been friends since we were little kids. Tim was a handsome and smart guy. He was very mysterious, which only made him more charming. We would spend our days at school and walk all evening long together. I had to change schools when I was in the 7th grade, so we didn't see each other as often after that. My new school was in a different part of the city. My leaving hurt him a lot, even though I had no control over what was happening, so we started being distant. 2 years passed, and I decided to return to my old school for his sake. Tim and I started hanging out again. We would walk for hours and talk about our dreams and stuff like UFOs. With time, I realized that I was always looking forward to seeing him, that I needed Tim, that I was in love with him. I was shocked, since I had never thought about him in that sense. I thought it over and started doing little things to get closer to him, sending him cute romantic messages, inviting him out, making nice little surprises. First, it was peaceful. I thought that our feelings needed time to develop. How could he love someone else if I loved him? I was naive. Then something happened. I had an older friend who would only come to town during holidays and in summer. She decided to help me and talk to Tim about my feelings. She didn't tell me anything about it, though. Coming back to school after that weekend, I had to encounter the consequences of what she had done without my knowledge. Tim started acting weird. He would sit far away from me at school. He stopped hanging out with me in the evenings. He ignored my questions, screamed at me, or laughed at me. I couldn't understand what was going on and was depressed. Finally, that older friend of mine explained to me what had happened. I was terrified. It turned out Tim knew about my feelings and didn't propose to date him. Moreover, he either avoided me or bullied me. When he needed something, for example, to copy my homework, he would become nice again, and I would forgive him since I wanted to be friends again, and believed that I would be able to make him fall for me later. Probably Tim knew it and wanted to show that he wasn't a cute and loving boyfriend, he was a much better friend. I thought that because I suddenly found out lots of shocking things about him, that he would brag about himself. First of all, it turned out that Tim was a real womanizer. He could date 3 girls who were friends between themselves at the same time, and each one of them would believe that he only loved her. Tim knew how to lie. He knew that girls wanted to be cared for, and he would pretend to care, asking them questions like, "Did you put on your hat? It's freezing." Or, "Are you wearing earphones when walking on the road? That's not safe." And then he would just disappear. I knew all that because he would show me their chats during classes. I realized that when it came to dating, he was a different person, but I kept on thinking that it must be different with me. By the way, he would force girls to send him nudes and then tell them that they were sluts and break up with them because of that. Tim would keep me on a tight leash, pushing me away with his nasty behavior and then pulling me back. He did it all the time. One evening, he could send me a lot of cute messages as if he wanted to have a chat. I would give up on whatever I was doing and switch to my phone, only to see him disappear after a couple of messages. The worst part was when he blocked all my calls and messages for a week and then came back and talked to me as if nothing had happened. Moreover, Tim kept on telling me about his new girlfriends. He would always say that they were liars and then compliment my intelligence and kindness. Naturally, Tim was always doing that when I was about to calm down and forget about him. All in all, I was riding this psychological roller coaster with him for over a year. It all came to an end when Tim kissed my best friend at my birthday party. Right. Minus 2 persons in my life in one night. Dear followers, I shared this story about Tim so that you don't do the same mistakes that I did. Please, stay vigilant when hanging out with guys, because being a good friend doesn't mean being a good boyfriend.